To get to the point quickly, you probably don't have a problem to deal with. If you're watching this video and saw the thumbnail and it matched what you have on your screen right now or in the last day or so, usually or you looked up encrypting file system, your file system isn't being encrypted most likely. In fact, I'm pretty sure it can't be. So here we go with number one. I'm going to read the error message fully, but again, you don't have to do anything, and I'm going to tell you what you can and should do. It literally says encrypting file system. It isn't. And then it says back up your encryption certificate and key. The certificate and key and or key are how we encrypt files on a file system. One is part of the operating system, but it can have extras. You can have more than one apparently. Another one is a key. This is vague, right? I've been in this business for more than 2 decades, and I know for a fact that I would have to go look this up. Why are you being made to look this up, and what happened? I would like to blame a Mac user this time. Creating this backup file helps you avoid permanently losing access to your encrypted files, but in this case it's being brought up when I have no encryption enabled anywhere, if the original certificate and key are lost or corrupted. Translation from Microsoft speak, we have a file system and an operating system that are both so stupid that if you encrypt something for your own protection, it's so brittle, it'll break the ability for you to access things. And we're admitting it. Great. Your options are the ones they want you to click. Backup now, recommended. You should back up the certificate and key to removable media. That means you have to go off in a bucket someplace and go get a CD or a DVD that you can burn, or a floppy disk if you're old like me, or tape drive, who knows, or maybe an SD card or thumb drive. Next option, backup later. What does this translate to? Tell the computer to nag you until you start crying. Windows will remind you the next time you log on and will never stop doing it. This message will never go away. Even if you actually do this the way you're supposed to, Windows can choose to schedule a chronically repeating timed error message like this that if it gets far enough in the future, you can never make it go away because you can never satisfy the conditions to clear that scheduled pop-up. Perpetually nagged to the point you have to format the drive to get rid of it because, next part of this, Microsoft Corporation hides where it puts these reminder timers. It's not really hidden, it's under scheduled tasks or whatever, but the or whatever is the problem. This could be under 100 different things, and in this case it is. And if you disarm this warning message, it will rearm itself. Because this is critically important, even though it wasn't supposed to come up and had nothing to do with my actions. That's important. The third option, never back up. You could lose access to your encrypted files. But is it going to take no for an answer? This is Microsoft Corporation. Is it going to shut up and never bring this up again? Is it telling you how to make it impossible for this to come up again? Then there's the options that it doesn't want you to look at, like you can hit the cancel button and turn off this message. Again, will that nag you but not back up anything? Will it nag you as part of the scheduled process backup later button? Or will it do the backup now and only cancel the argument here? Depending on what piece of software you're using and which era Microsoft Corporation came out, cancel doesn't mean what it says. What about closing the box in the upper right-hand corner? Will that schedule a restart of the same error message? Will it arm something that will never go away? Will it then fuck up the file system so it doesn't even know why it's bringing it up? Nowhere on the screen does it tell you what file caused this. You're not given information on how to diagnose it. Also it asks, why should I back up the certificates and keys? Again, I've never enabled encryption on any files here. I know that. Now, again, I did crap like this 20 plus years. The message at the top says encrypting file system. That means it's taking action. Right? No. The encrypting file system. What? It sounds like a title of some partially named program. Oh yeah, it's part of the name of the program that's putting up the dialog. It's not actually encrypting your file system. It's something, something, something for encrypting file systems. But it gets truncated to, I'm encrypting your file system, when it's not. What caused this? We're at 5 minutes. Get to the joke. Some Mac user enabled by default to enable or permit all folders and files on their computer to allow encryption by setting the is encryption allowed to yes by setting a single bit on folders. You can do that on a Windows machine too. Nobody ever does it because, number one, as implied by this message, Microsoft Corporation's products fuck up every form of security known to man. And they always do. Don't turn them on. I'm not kidding. Unless you have a death wish. Unless you want to make your computer self-destruct. Don't enable encryption unless you really, really want to and need to. And at that point, give up playing video games. Give up having fun. Don't look at memes. Don't watch YouTube videos. Because every single thing you do on the computer that you're using can cause file system corruption. Guess what won't work if you have a corrupted file system on most, if not all, Microsoft computers? The encryption. If you enable encryption on your file system, and any file gets gets screwed up, which happens, if it's encrypted, the thing might refuse to work entirely and you lose everything. Well, it can't really be that brittle, WAPTech, says the idiot in the back. Of course it can. Everything about Microsoft Corporation's products is a booby trap, so they can tell you over the phone, just format and reinstall. Buy a new copy for $50. Buy. Thanks for calling. Your call means a great deal to us. Please hold while we hang up on you. How would you like to be disconnected? What should the title of this window say? The encrypting file system subsystem, or let's try another one. How about file system encryptor has detected a file that has encryption enabled but doesn't have a certificate or key associated. It should be very descriptive, or in my case say, you downloaded a zip file that contained a Macintosh folder that had encryption enabled but didn't have a key in it. Would you like to mess with this? No. Would you like to clear that bit and never see this message again? Yes. Would you like me to remind you later like a big dick or just never bother you again? Like you never do it again. And then it should have a third option. Would you like in the future for the operating system to simply clear these bits unless explicitly told otherwise? Yes. Good. I won't remind you later. None of the screen tells you what you should do. And I'll tell you what you should do. Whatever you did last, in my case, downloading a zip file and extracting it, it spent a minute and a half before it detected, oh, by the way, there's an encrypted file here. I wonder if this will totally synchronize with something completely unrelated you're seeing on YouTube. Literally waited a minute to tell me this. So I unzipped the file, and in the file it had a Macintosh folder that had the folder in a weird color. Oh, well, you downloaded the zip file, and it's got a folder that has encryption, but there's no key to it, so it's not encrypted. So it's an encryption-enabled folder with no file in it that's encrypted? Yeah. What does that mean? That means nothing. It's bupkis. Fucking clear the bit. On other operating systems, they never bring up this kind of message because they give you a warning. Would you like to enable encryption on every folder? Yes. Warning, this will cause thousands of pop-ups. Okay, then don't do it. I mean, there's a Linux distro I played with once where I right-clicked a folder, not realizing there's 100 underneath it. Allow encryption. Literally. A variation on the words allow encryption. And then it said, would you like to apply this to multiple folders? Yes. And it says, boop, by enabling encryption on 180 subfolders, you are asking to have 180 yes and no dialogues on something that you did not intend. Did you really mean to do this? No. Okay. And it canceled the whole project. It wouldn't even let me do any encryption enabling. I didn't need to do it. I was just messing around. It was a noob mode. Now, if I was in expert mode, it wouldn't have given me a warning until it got done with it, and then it would run hundreds of pop-ups. Now, let's say you're a Mac user, and you hate PC users, because you can set a default like this for every folder on your computer, and it'll never argue with you or bring up the stupid message, because your system doesn't screw up the keys as often. Or maybe it does, and you just lie to people and don't have them back up their keys. So what you do is you set up a bunch of folders, and then on the top folder in a zip, turn it into a zip file. And on the top folder in the zip file, you go in there. It's a compressed file system. You say enable encryption on all subfolders. Okay, and then the Macintosh does it. Never brings up a message like this. It just means that you can make the folder encrypted by then right-clicking and saying set password. And after you do that, once you type in the password, you can't get into it. Major pain in the ass. But you don't set any passwords. You then tell it to save the zip file as is, and then email it to your friend who runs PC, who has no clue this is about to happen to them. They then either just receive the zip file, that may be all that's necessary these days, or on older systems like Windows 8 and Windows 7, they right-click, unzip it, and it says hundreds of pop-ups, encrypting file system. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think a person's assuming is happening to them? I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying this is funny. Anyway, this got me. It was very good. But the fact that it was put up by somebody who was trying to solve a problem, put up a folder on the internet, but allowed a Mac to touch it, and had their system defaulted to something that doesn't bug them, but everybody they ever sent an email to with an attachment that was a zip got this nasty pop-up if they were a PC user. Yes, it's the fault of the Windows operating system. But I'm blaming the Mac users because fuck them. So anyway, to synopsize, if you got encrypting file system, back up your encryption certificate and key as a message, you don't have to. It's bullshit. And this should never have happened because Microsoft Corporation should have never made an error message that obviously says encrypting file system and scares the living shit out of people. And yes, I caught myself within a couple of seconds. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I know what this is. Oh, shit. Again, I'm a professional who did this for years, and I know what this is. But it still scared me. Because it should never have fucking been able to come up, because I should never see this. I'm going to look up how to permanently disable this message and have it auto-clear any bit that says the files are supposed to be encrypted. If there is no file encrypted, it should not enable the encryption bit. Or turn off this dialog entirely. Or maybe I'll just send everybody the same Mac file I got and just put a bunch of subfolders in it because it's funny. That's totally the kind of shit I'd pull. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And now that you have this evil knowledge, don't exploit it. That would be bad. Bye.